exciting. So, yay, we're live. Oh, we are live too. I can see it on our Facebook page. Let me just refresh it. So I've got it there. And it's coming up now. There we go.
Yep.
Yay. Well, I'm so excited. This has been, it's wonderful to chat with you.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah.
In the evening here and in the morning there. Technology is amazing.
It is amazing, isn't it? I just love it. It's just, obviously I do love it because that's what I do. It's teaching people how to use technology. But yeah, so I think I've known you now for about, I don't know, 3 years, maybe more than 3 actually.
Yeah, 2017, November 2017.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, nearly 4. So that's been a long time. Big journey, for both of us. So
yes, incredible, just incredible.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to share your work with everybody today. So let me just tell you a little bit about Debbie. I actually met Debbie, like we were saying, in November 17. That was actually in San Diego when we were part of it. We went to a live event together, which was for visionary business people. So yeah, visionary business entrepreneurs. So there we were at this conference, which was amazing in itself, wasn't it? So yeah.
Yes, it was incredible.
Yeah, we met so many lovely people.
Mm-hmm.
And but let me tell you about Debbie. So Debbie's the author of a best-selling book. It's a #1 best-selling book, which is I Just Want to Be Happy, The 6 Steps to Living Your Best Life. So yeah. Debbie's also a proud coach and facilitator of the Self-Sustaining Leadership Program, which specializes in self-esteem and impostor syndrome. So that's very exciting.
Yes, very beneficial for an awful lot of people.
Yeah.
We have people that have gone through all the coaching and they've got their certifications, and then it's time to go and they're like, oh, who am I to step out and do that? Who am I? Who's going to really listen to me? I mean, like, I know all the credentials, but I don't feel that confident in what I'm doing. And so the Self-Sustaining Leadership Program, it's about 3 months long, and it's absolutely amazing how you get in touch with who you are, like really deep inside. So you're like really connecting with yourself. And when a person does that and they get so clear in who they are authentically, not who they were taught to be or what their cultural or religious or familial or whatever, patterns are, but they're like, oh, I've always done this thing, but really I'd rather be doing this other thing, or this is more like me, but my whole family is this way. That's me. My whole family, it's like, I'm just amazed, like, how did I arrive here? And you're brought up in all of that, and yet you feel really, really different, but you don't know how to have that conversation. So the Self-Sustaining Leadership Program is like this magic that allows you to just get in touch with who you are so that you can have loving conversations with people. And it's not an argument or a fight. Yes. The beautiful thing about the Self-Sustaining Leadership Program is the incredible amount of connection you begin to have with yourself and then others, which is so beneficial for the workplace. I mean, it has helped so many businesses. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, because I can imagine that it would, absolutely. Especially right now, we need it more than ever, to people to really be living their passions and going and doing what they're meant to do on the earth, Yeah.
Right.
So Dorothy said to say hi. So Dorothy's here watching us, and some other people too. So pop in, say hi, put a comment so we know who you are. So we're so happy and grateful that you're here watching with us. So
I don't know how to see comments or anything, so please share with me. Anything
I will. I've got it up, so as soon as something happens, I'll be able to let you know. So all right. Okay. So today though, I mean, I think your program sounds amazing. Yes. But today we're going to talk about something different, really, and we're talking about observation, which is an interesting topic in itself, isn't it? Observation and how it can help somebody in business. So,
yes.
There's Margaret. Hey, hi, Margaret. Oh, I should do it this way. I'm waving to the Facebook screen.
So observation is an amazing skill to learn. And we are so proficient in observing everyone and everything else. We can speak to it and speak about it and complain about it or enjoy it or whatever, but we can observe everything else. But is it really an accurate observation? So that's part one. And then part two, we'll talk a little bit more about those 3 steps, which is a little bit more of self-observation. So observation typically is seen through the lens of our eyes. And so if we had a great childhood, we may see something and go, that was okay or wonderful or whatever. Somebody else that had a terrible childhood or whatever may see it as a horrible event, right? So I like to use the analogy of there's 2 people and they're in an office and the boss comes out and that says, Smith, Jones, get in here right now. And he's all angry or whatever. And he goes back in his office. So one person, Smith, is like, must have had a bad day, right? No real big reaction to it other than noticing that the boss was angry. The other person flips out on the inside. Oh my God, what did I do? Am I going to get fired? And they're a nervous wreck because their boss, they're observing their boss being angry. Therefore, there's a sensation or feeling that they need to do something or be differently. But the truth of the matter is the accurate observation is more the first one, Smith, who's like, oh, they must have had a really bad day or a bad phone call or whatever, right? It's more accurate to just see it more like if you were writing a book or a play and, you just kind of say like, the lady walked down the stairs, walked over to the table, took a drink of her glass, right? Just real, like factual, very non-emotional. And then you can actually see what's really happening versus, excuse me, sorry, having an emotional reaction. And that's not a really great way to respond to somebody else. And so
I'm just going to say, I can actually relate to this. As you know, like my background is training. And when I first started as a trainer, if somebody wasn't really listening to me, like, you can see, I'd get really upset. I'd be going, okay, what am I doing? Because my role as a trainer is to connect people, make them feel warm and fuzzy and want them so that they feel safe, so that they want to learn. That's like, and if someone was like a bit distant or they were off with the fairies or whatever, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm not doing my job. What have I done? Like, why am I not connecting? Like, why am I not doing it? And as I grew as a trainer, it was like, you know what, maybe they have a baby that kept them awake all night and they just can't, they just can't be there because they're worried about their baby. Or maybe they've just had a big fight with their husband and they're, like there's other things going on. It's not all about me. So it's like, don't take it personally. Like it's,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? Like it was, and that was a big learning curve for me as I grew as a trainer, that people do have their own stuff going on, and we have to accept that.
Totally.
Yeah. So that's sort of what you're saying in a way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the best workplace practices is if you don't have all the facts, refrain judgment until you do. Because like you said, there could be a million reasons. And just like you're talking about the baby that kept them up all night, or somebody had to be, taken to the hospital or whatever, and they got their mind somewhere else, doesn't mean that they're not interested in what you're saying. Yeah. They just may not even be capable of focusing on what you're doing. So, yeah. So another thing is the free of judgment. We definitely want to keep that. We want to, if at all possible, tamp down the emotions. So it like to be careful with the shoulds, and I wish they would have, done this other thing, and now I'm really upset because they didn't, is a little bit too much about us wanting a particular outcome. Yeah. And to learn how to be a little more accepting of the outcome is whatever the outcome is, and to not allow our emotions to get too involved in that. So so that's like some of the observation, which when we begin observing, and when we get into a little bit more the self-observing, it is like a foundational skill, and it is a skill you can grow and learn and get better at just by paying attention, like really paying attention. Like some people like to write down like what did happen, what they wish would have happened, what could have gone better, to just get a sense. And once you've done that some number of times, it's like, I don't know, like your brain says, oh, okay, I got it now. And then it just like accepts that. Yeah. I think we're good with the observation. There's really not a whole lot of other information on observation. I love self-observation, which is coming soon. That one's even more critical because, like I said, we notice everything else. We know how to judge. We know how to decide if that person said the right thing or the wrong thing, if it was good or bad. We've got that. It's what really goes on inside of us that can really trick us up a little bit when we're dealing with our clients. So we talked about the workplace practices, and we talked about making sure that we've got all the facts before we make, and I'm going to call it a judgment. I don't mean good or bad, but I mean a judgment in, what the next step should be or how to proceed. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I know everybody knows this, Angie, everybody knows it, but it doesn't ever hurt to remind us to have our cell phones be secondary to the client in front of us. It's that be here now, focus on what's in front of us or who is in front of us in order to make that more intimate connection. Because if I'm over here checking my phone and I'm like, just a sec, and I'm not paying attention and I'm looking out here, even though I would want for us to connect, there's a disconnection. It's just the way that it is. So the other thing was to minimize distractions as much as possible, stay focused in the moment. Another thing about bringing observation into best practices is as we grow our observation skills of other people, and like you said, not taking it personal, we actually can grow more conscious choices because we become more clear about not taking it personal, not allowing it to affect us in a negative way. People have bad days, whatever. So to just stay in more neutral. So those are just some, as far as best workplace practices, we're just talking about in the observation field because there's like a gazillion best workplace practices.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
good. So I know I want to talk about the self-observation or those 3 steps to shifting a reactive thought and about the reticular activating system. And I thought what I'd like to do, if it's okay with you, is to do that little 2 or 3 minute activity with the reticular activating system before we go into the 3 steps, because I think it will help when I refer to it that we've already done it and people know. So is that cool for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. Okay. What do you reckon, everyone? Let's do it, hey?
Yeah.
So thumbs up.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So of course I have to do my disclaimer. Don't do it while you're driving or operating heavy machinery. Not that it's that big a deal. Just being safe. Just being safe. Okay. So here's the little game. And it's not really a game. It's really pretty poignant and real-time stuff. Okay. So I'm going to ask everyone to take about 5 to 7 minutes, and I'll keep track and I'll tell you when to start and when to stop. But when I do say start, I want you to look around your room or wherever you are and look for anything you see that's red. Okay? So just wherever you are, ready, get set, go. Okay, stop. And I want you to think about the number in your head, and you can hold it there for a moment, but without looking, just looking here at the camera. How many things did you see that were blue? Okay, so now I know I asked you to look for red things, right? And you did, But now I'm asking you about blue things. It's like, okay, why would I do that? Well, how about we continue with it and you go ahead and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to start and stop you. Go ahead and look around and count for blue things. Ready, go. Okay, stop. You got your number? Remember it? Okay, don't look. How many yellow things were there? Okay, so don't get mad. It's not a trick. It's actually really meant to hone in on something. So when I say, hey, let's look for red things, and we look around the room, we see the red things. And when I say, okay, let's look for blue things, and we look around, we see the blue things. If I say look for yellow, we see yellow. So let's pretend for a moment that red things would be negative things. Blue things are positive things, and yellow things are opportunities. Many of us observe lots of red things in our lives. This isn't going well. That person says things I don't like. I can't believe that person did this. There's a lot of red things going on in our lives. So if we actually look for blue and yellow, they're there. They're actually there, but we don't see them. So what is that thing that's happening where that focus is so strong that we can look around a room, and your room is a perfect example because you have so many wonderful colors back there. But it's a perfect example that, I mean, I have a dark wall. Some people see it as blue or purple, but whatever. I can walk in here sometimes, not even see the wall, which it's kind of like, how can you not see that? Because I'm focusing on other things. So here's the deal about the focus. The reticular activating system is actually a little part of our brain, right at the bottom of the brain before the stem. And it's this tightly woven bundle of nerves, and it absorbs all of the stimuli that we receive for everything, all of our senses except for our smell. But it's receiving tons and tons of information, and up to like 2 million bits of data. But the reticular activating system will only allow in 100 bits out of a couple million.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Tiny, yes, tiny little bit. So how does it know what to let in?
Yeah.
What you're focusing on.
What's exactly what you focus on is what you see.
Exactly.
It's the whole, if you say in the morning, I'm going to wake up and it's going to be a great day, your mind will find things to validate that statement, and it will look for things to make it a great day. If you wake up in the morning and you go, oh crap, it's been a shitty day today, whatever, blah, 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 it's going to find things to validate that you are going to have a bad day as well. So it's what we focus on, we attract. I know a lot of people listening will agree with this, that it's all about where we put our attention, what we focus on. Yeah.
The other day I heard someone say, oh, this, and this happened. What else? And I went, oh, don't ask that question, because you've just opened up your reticular activating system to say, look for what else, right? I mean, that's really what's happening, and we don't realize it.
I remember going, to a conference with Doreen Virtue, and I can remember, and whenever she would say, if she ever said something that was negative, she would go, clear, cut, cancel, delete, so she'd be like cutting the air straight away, like, just get rid of that thought out of here right now, let's cut it, delete it.
Yes.
It's interesting, so it doesn't get out there to actually manifest.
It is, and it works because it's almost like a little eraser, and we can rewrite like something negative, erase and write. I don't know about just positive and affirmations. I'm not saying they don't work, they do, but you really have to mean them for them to work. But we can replace that little bit to, let me retract that. Let's see, I'd rather have, and then state what I'd rather have. I'd rather have more blue and yellow, more positive and opportunities in my life. Yes, I'm going to look for blue and yellow and go forward. And that's what happens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. One of my mentors used to always say it as well, up until now. So if something happened, I've always had blah, 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 up until now. And so that it would change the thought process.
Oh, nice. That's a good one. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I like your opportunities and all of that, because that's right, isn't it? If we're focusing on the negative, we're not seeing the opportunities that are actually in front of us, because we just don't see them.
Yeah. So I have a little saying that I tell myself sometimes, and I go, red, yellow, or blue, it's all right there in front of you, right?
Yeah, I love it.
But it's a good reminder.
Mm.
Because they're all around us. So we get to choose. That's a beautiful thing, that we get to choose.
Oh, absolutely.
Like what we're
Yeah.
focusing on. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, it is. And that's another skill to practice. Okay. A lot of what we do, because as adults, we've practiced it so much that there's parts of our brain like the basal ganglia and the amygdala and the amygdala, and they store, like, their memory centers, and they store things. But like the basal ganglia is the habit center. So if you think about, do you have to think about how to tie your shoes, brush your teeth, drive your car? No, you've done it enough times. And the brain's job is to reserve energy, calories. And so if you pick up your toothbrush and put the toothpaste on, the brain's like, oh, I know what's happening. I don't have to perform. You go for it. And it tells the habit center to just go for it. And it doesn't have to use its, energy or power. And so skills are like that. I say, here's the tool. And then once you learn it and you've practiced it enough time, it literally becomes a skill, because then you're just very comfortable with it and you don't have to think about it as much. And so, yeah, so you can grow the skill to lead your life towards a better result for yourself. So I know we don't have a whole lot of time left, and I would love to get to the 3 steps to shift reactive thinking.
Awesome. I'm excited.
So reactive thinking would be, let's say you have a client and your client just pisses you off. Now, most of us are adult enough that we will maintain, and we can hold it and continue and finish the situation, whether it's an event or whatever, with that individual. But man, when we go by our friends, it's like, let me tell you what they did, right? We're so angry. We want validation for our feelings. And we go to people who will, cooperate or participate with us in certain ways. So I had a situation, and I'm not going to go through the whole story of the situation, but it was a situation that when I was presented with the information, the situation, I had a major emotional reaction. And I stayed angry for like a week. And I didn't even want to see this person. I was so upset. And I had to like check myself and go, Debbie, you teach this. You need to practice what you teach, right? So there's 3 steps. We call them stop, drop, and roll. So I don't know about in your country, but in America, usually around 2nd grade, maybe 3rd grade, whatever, firemen come into the classroom and they teach the children, in case you catch on fire, stop, drop, and roll. So you stop running, you drop to the ground, and then you roll until the fire's out. Okay, all kids in America, do y'all do that over there?
You know what? That would be something that we do, but it's been a long time since I went to school. I have no idea what the firemen teach. Maybe somebody else can comment on that, whether or not that's what we do. I don't know.
That's fair. So anyway, so we do that here. And I remember thinking, but what if the fire's in your brain? Because, you just had this major emotional reaction. And so there's a 3-step process. And the first is stop, and to just accept that you just had a major reaction, an emotional reaction to someone. Yeah. You may be able to do it while you're sitting there, although in time with the practice, you will get really good and you'll be able to do it. But you stop, notice the thought, drop back, think about, well, where did that come from? Where did that first start? Where have I felt this before? A lot of times we can pinpoint an exact moment in time when the ex-husband, the current husband, the father, the mother, some previous event, you're like, oh, okay. And we just got triggered, but really the person in front of us did not create that trigger. And so because they don't deserve the wrath or the upset that was created from someone else, it's time to roll into our new thought, our new idea, our new concept, a new story. And for me, with the situation that I had I seen the people while I was still angry, I wouldn't have wanted to speak with them. But when I did my stop, drop, and roll, and I realized, oh my gosh, they're working on a project. They're probably not finished. Half of it was in my yard, but anyway, that's, and that's an issue, aside from the fact that my neighbor put some stuff in my yard, which would be fine, but it's the way that it happened and the previous stuff. So the way that I was able to handle it, I went, you know what, I bet you they're not finished the project and they've got some more to go. And I know, as well as they've done with everything else, probably, sure enough, I saw them the next day. They were like, oh, we're sorry, we have this stuff right here. We're almost done and it's going to all move. And I was like, oh, thank God, because otherwise, sometimes we can cause friction when we don't mean to. So whether it's a neighbor or someone in your office or a client, we can have a reaction to somebody when it's not even their fault, but it reminds us of something else. So stop, drop, and roll into a new thought. And
I really like that, because I think that's true, isn't it? It's up to us how we react to something. So if there's a situation in front of us and we're reacting, we're not necessarily reacting to them. We've chosen the reaction, which has come from something inside of us.
Yes.
Like you said, that's triggered somewhere.
Yeah.
Something.
But if we don't know that's what's happening, it's just their fault. They did it. It's their fault. We're blaming them. We're shaming them. We're complaining about them, not to their face, but it's still happening. Yeah. And so this is about observing ourselves. And it's like, what part are we playing in it? And we always play a part, because everything that happens is for our benefit, right? It's all a lesson. So
yes, I love that statement. That was one of the things I absolutely love from Byron Katie. It's not what happens, nothing's happening to us, it's happening for us. Yes. And when you take that on, that philosophy, that thought, it changes the way that you see things.
Absolutely.
The way you react to things. Because there's lessons in everything, isn't there? There are little gems and little lessons in everything that happens to us.
Everything.
Finding them.
Yes, that's the key. Self-observation helps with finding them. Yeah, it's a really, really wonderful tool. Yeah. So just add some tools to your toolbox and get them going until they become skills and you're just off and running. So
yes, no, that's great. Thank you so much, for being here. I really, really appreciate it. It's just been awesome. Does anybody have any questions that they might want to? Sorry, I've just got to close down some things that popped on my screen and stood over. So has anybody got any questions for Debbie on what we've been talking about? So I keep looking over here at my screen. There's people still watching, so that's exciting. Any comments, any suggestions or anything? The other thing is too, how can people get in contact with you?
Well, I'm in the middle of and almost finished building my Inner Mastery Learning Center online. And I am so excited. So they can go to innermasterylearningcenter.com and really all they can do is put in their information. To contact me is info@debbiepearson.com. info@debbiepearson.com, and I can get back in touch with them. That's an email address. So please feel free to share whatever you want. Or if you have any questions or need some information about, what we talked about. Yeah. I do have some handouts if somebody would like to have them.
Oh, wonderful.
Anyway, yes.
Yeah, well, I'll pop these in the comments so people can comment to you if they would like to connect. So thank you so much for today. Thank you for
my pleasure. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, it's been wonderful actually having you here and connecting with you again. So thank you everybody who's been watching. We really appreciate it. So thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone. Most abundant and amazing day. And we look forward to talking to you again sometime really soon. So take care. Bye.
Bye.